I'm Tia Borden with MiningIR, and beside me is David Awram, co-founder and geologist of Sandstorm Gold. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Are you enjoying the conference so far?
Yeah, listen, it's a great conference. I love these events that Beacon puts on. I've had a great time. Met a lot of new groups. There's a really diverse amount of participants coming to all the booths today. So it's great to see a big, broad swath of the community.
I agree.
From investors really to kind of the geologists and the technical people and the consultants involved, but also really even the banks and some of the groups. So it's a really unique event in that way.
It is, and I agree with you. Like, there's been so many new faces. I've been at this conference now for probably 5 to 6 years, and lots of new faces this year, which is great to see. So
sure.
Yeah, we have one more day. So okay, we're going to jump right into it. I want to know about the company, how you got involved. You are a geologist.
Yep.
So can you give me and the audience some background?
Sure. So Sandstorm Gold is a royalty and streaming company. We're traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange. We have a market cap of around 1.5 billion US, with an EV of close to $2 billion. We were started by myself and my partner from originally Silver Wheaton, Nolan Watson. We started the company in 2009. We've grown the company now to over 40 cash flowing assets. That's from a total asset base of 250 different royalties and streams.
Wow. And we were talking before we hopped on camera about how busy you were last year. There was a lot of change, a lot of growth. You had some significant funding. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, so we've always grown a lot. We've always considered ourselves a big, high growth company. But last year, 2022, ended up being the biggest year. We did over 1.1 billion in acquisitions. That was 2 separate private royalty companies, one private, which was BaseCore, another one that was a public company called Nomad Royalties. So we folded both those companies into the company last year, consolidating the asset. That was great because what it did is it provided a real long-term base of long growth, of long life products and assets to really flesh out what kind of a company we look like 10, 15 years from now.
And what strategic decisions did you make to, create this growth?
Yeah, it's important to really kind of think at all different phases of the market, how you grow the company. At different parts of of when we've been around, we've looked for more optionality. Last year, we were really looking for cash flow and that long-term growth. So for us, that was a big important thing to think about one of these. Another important part was thinking about what's that strategy for the future. It's a competitive market in the royalty and streaming space, especially in the mid-caps and the senior companies where I think we fit in. So making sure that you create a base of what that long-term strategy where you don't have to compete as much against those other companies will put you head and shoulders above those groups when you look at that growth and that long-term growth, which is really kind of 2 or 3 years down the road for us.
And you've had significant growth and it's been consistent. What are you going to do? Are you going to, do you have a plan to keep that growth coming in the next 5 years? Or, would you want to stay consistent or do you want to change things up and be innovative?
The beauty of our portfolio and how we've grown the company so far is that we've already had that growth. We anticipate, so starting in 2024, the deals that we bought and paid for, they're starting to really come online. Things like Greenstone, Flat Reef, these are giant mines that are being built by some of the world's best producers. We're going to get a piece of those. Many other projects in the portfolio are going to grow as well too. We've got embedded optionality in things like the Mara project, which give us that additional growth. So we have the luxury right now of having done that innovation in the past to really kind of sit on that portfolio of assets, see that grow, and then important to us is pay down that debt that we accumulated in those acquisitions last year. At over a $2,000 gold price, it makes it a lot easier because our margins end up being close to $1,800 per ounce at today's gold price.
Right. And David, how do you assess long-term value and risks associated with your current investments?
Yeah, so it's a really in-depth process as we go through. And the nice thing, we're all very experienced in the mining industry. The mining industry, I think, is a lot smaller than most investors realize. But when you really embed yourself and look at a particular type of project, you find yourself really being able to understand and almost know people who have worked on that project. So being able to get intelligence and understanding of how that project may function in the future it really helps, I think, having that experience base that we have.
Now, I'm curious to know what your long-term strategy is and what separates you guys from other companies in the industry.
In the past, we've always tried to be as opportunistic as possible. And sometimes we've ended up with non-conforming type of investments. What part of the strategy last year with those acquisitions was to take those non-conforming assets, pull a really regular nuts and bolts stream out of that so that we as Sandstorm Gold remain just a pure streaming and royalty company. Makes us easy to understand for investors. However, we still love the idea of being opportunistic. So what we did is we took those non-conforming assets, created some partner companies along, which allow us to still try and take advantage, grow new companies. I think our most exciting partner is going to be Horizon Copper. Horizon Copper is going to be an operating copper company, and we'll have the exclusive rights to stream the precious metals that come off of them. So as Horizon Copper grows, we have that opportunity to grow without having to compete against the other royalty and streaming companies. That's where we're really excited. I think once we get that debt paid down, once we see a couple more years of good cash flow, we'll really be in that position to be able to deploy up to hundreds of millions of dollars with Horizon Copper to grow our precious metals and royalty streams.
There's a lot that you have to look forward to. It's going to be a busy year to come. Is there anything else you would like to share with our investors and viewers?
Yeah, listen, I think what Sandstorm represents right now is that with the acquisitions we've done, with the partners we've created a really straight and narrow objective of what Sandstorm is going to be in the future. As we pay down the debt and it gets down to a lower level, we're going to see our valuation increase. So we really want investors to take a look at our balance sheet, take a look at how we've been at paying down, see how much cash flow that's anticipated from the deals we put together so far, and then start making a decision as to whether or not you want to buy that right risk-adjusted return in the mining space, which I think Sandstorm represents.
David, it was such a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for all of the insight. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference, and I'm sure we'll sit down again in the new year.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate taking the time.
Thanks.